going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. April has came and went. This year is completely flying by. Before we get into May movies, we're going to talk about every April movie I watched, rank them, place them on the proper tiers. Saw 5 movies in April. Not a ton, but nonetheless, we're going to talk about them. Very, very solid month for movies. Let me know your ranking of the movies you watched in the month of April down below in the comment section. What was your favorite and least favorite of the entire month? And man, it's almost that summer movie season. I'm so excited about it. The top of these tiers. Starting off with our tiers, we have best of the month, we have great, we have good, we have meh, and we have worst of the month. First and foremost, we have Abigail, which I'm gonna put in the good tier. Not gonna lie to you, the more I think about this movie, it hasn't sat that well with me because of that wackily absurd third act. And it kind of just took me out of the movie. When I think back to the movie, I just think about how crazy that third act gets. Now, I don't want to throw any spoilers out there in case you haven't seen it, but there's a moment between Kevin Durant and Catherine Newton, and once that happens, it really just kind of goes bonkers. And the movie itself was pretty bonkers, but I loved the slower buildup. I loved the middle act, and then that third act, it just kind of took me out of it quite a bit. And the more I think about it, I go, that was really, really weird. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of lost me a little bit. So Abigail was good. It was actually great, and then ended up being just good, and I really want to enjoy it more. Nonetheless, it's in the good tier. We'll leave it at that. Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scar Giver. Okay, this is going to go in worst of the month for the sake of the tiers, but it would actually go in the good tier. So I actually enjoyed Rebel Moon Part 2 a lot more than most people. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I have a Zack Snyder ranking on the channel from a couple days ago, a little plug for you. But I think Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver, is a lot better than most people are giving it credit for. Is there one too many slow-mos? Absolutely. Is this a story we have seen before? Sure. Should this been one big movie? You're right. What do you want me to say? You're right. But I'm a Zack Snyder defender, and it was cool, and it was awesome. It was action-packed, and I love that it was just a direct sequel. Like, there was no fluff, no 10 years later. Like, it took place, like, right after it, and I dig that. And they're harvesting a lot in this movie in slow-mo. There's too many slow-mos, that's for sure, but I thought the Rebel Moon movies were a lot better than most people are giving them credit for. I'll leave it at that. We have the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I'll go in the good tier as well. Won't go great, but I'll go in the good tier as well. Guy Ritchie. I love this man. I'm still trying to get through a show, The Gentleman. Is anyone else having a hard time getting through The Gentleman? Because I'm like halfway through, and I enjoy it, but like it's like slow, real slow, and I'm like, I fall asleep every time I try to watch. Nonetheless, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, Henry Golding. It's fun, it's funny, it's epic. People have been throwing around it's like a knockoff of Inglourious Basterds. I think it's Inglourious Basterds-esque, but also Guy Ritchie-esque. And it makes for a very fun movie of Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, just murking Nazis. Like, just watch it, dude. Gotta go kill some Nazis. Alan Richardson with a knife is so badass. I dug it. And I love Guy Ritchie. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. So I might be a little bit biased between Zack Snyder and Guy Ritchie, but the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a ton of fun. If you want to see a bunch of jack dudes just murk Nazis for like 2 hours, it's a movie you gotta watch, and it's funny, and it opens up with a bang. I just really, really enjoyed it. I had a really quality, fun time watching it, so Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, good. It could go great tier, but we'll leave it in the good tier. Challengers. Best of the month. And the more I think about this movie, it might take over Dune Part 2 and is my favorite movie of the year. It's not quite there yet, but I've seen this movie twice in theaters now. This is my wife's like top 10 favorite movie of all time. I'm not even kidding. I've never seen her love a movie so much after one time of watching it. She does not see movies twice in theaters very often. She wanted to go back and watch this one in theaters more than I did, which is saying something. Challengers was everything and more you could want in a movie. And Luca Guadagnino, he's just proving he's just the man. He's so good behind the camera. And the cinematography, unbelievable. The writing, how they tell the story is so great. It's going back and forth between different time jumps. I've said this already, but I feel like it's a metaphor for a tennis match, the way they tell the story, because it's going back and forth, and it works to its advantage. It makes it so much more interesting. I think it was a perfect way to tell the story. Josh O'Connor is a cocky, just guy that you like but don't like because he's down on his luck, but he comes from a rich background, so he's just doing it to himself for whatever reason. You can't ever read that. Zendaya is such a meanie. Oh my god, she's so mean, and I love Zendaya, but I was like, God, I cannot stand you in this movie because of how she treats Mike Feist, who I believe is the best part of this movie. He's my favorite part of this movie. Art Donaldson. Team Art, power that down. Hashtag Team Art down below in the comments. It's a great movie, great performances. Give it best score, best director. I think the 3 actors should all get nominated. I loved it. I really, really loved it. I can't speak highly enough about Challengers. And finally, for the month of April, we have Monkey Man, which I'm going to go with the great tier. And shout out Dev Patel for a directorial debut, man. Shout the frick out. It was awesome. And I'll say this. The first hour, it's about a 2-hour movie. The first hour, the action is clunky. It's absurd. It's all over the place. It's almost hard to watch. I found myself getting dizzy and low-key motion sickness from watching the first hour. How kind of all over the place it was with this, how it was kind of filmed. But then it goes to this point where it comes to a complete halt, and it was like moving, sprinting, and then a complete halt, like to a walking or a crawl. And he goes through this whole little montage of training and getting after it. And then all of a sudden, that last hour, the action isn't all shaky anymore. It isn't dizzy anymore. It's much more clear, and it turns on to full-ass John Wick. And I think they did that for a reason, because we went on this journey. I'm a person who takes metaphors for movies, so bear with me. This is how I interpreted the film. The first hour, he's getting his ass kicked a bunch. So the cameras are all shaky. They're all over the place. But then that last hour, he's doing the ass kicking, so everything's much more smooth. That's just how I took it. I think we grew with this character. I think we grew with Dev Patel. And I dug it. My wife, not so much. She's not an action gal, but I loved Monkey Man. It's in a great tier. It's top 5 of the year for me so far. And that's going to do it for my April movie ranking. Can't believe we're almost in the month of May. It's absolutely absurd. Let me know your ranking of every April movie you watch down below in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. And I'll see you in the next one.